So welcome back to the show. I got my really good friend, Erik Rachie, with us. Eric and I traveled the world. It was a lot of fun, right?
2019, I still talk about it to people to this day. It comes up in discussions.
It was fun. We went to Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand. I went to India. We went down to Cape Town, Johannesburg. We were up to Athens and in London. We went to Lima, Cusco, Machu Picchu, Chicago. It was a lot of fun filming a TV show. He was one of the camera guys on it and part of the family. And it was just a hell of a time.
36 days. 36 days away from my family.
Yeah.
But traveling around the globe, it's just a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, it really was
fantastic.
Yeah, we did a religion. We did a big, we tried to do one religion in each country, try to understand their religion. We tried to do one good deed. We got to really get to know one big adventure, and we really tried to get to know the country quickly. We didn't have a lot of time, but it was kind of I call it the red bus tour of the world, right? It was kind of like a good one red bus tour. So I guess what I was going to talk to you about today, and I thought we'd film it and share with the audience. And it's a neat idea. I was in Nepal last November with my cousin, and
Which cousin?
So my cousin Michael from Sicily. So he was going through some tough times, right? Okay. He had his mother passed away, then his son passed away, and his father had just passed away, and he'd gone through this over the last 5 or 6 years, and it was just a lot. And he was kind of suffering a little bit, and he went to Spain, he walked the Camino de Santiago, the 30-day walk, and he came back and said, I still didn't find myself, still suffering a lot. And he goes, I want to become a monk. I'm like, well, that's a little dramatic. Why don't we just go try out, go to a seminary for a little bit and try that out. And I go, look, I'll tell you what, if you go, I'll come meet you at the door at the end of the 30-day little thing. He's like, you won't come. I'm like, I'm gonna come meet you. And so it was kind of fun that we went to, so he goes to Nepal, and this Nepalese monks, then they're kind of cute. These guys they're all like little tiny guys, and they all
wear the orange robes.
Yeah, very, very
shaved heads and sandals, just like you see in the movies.
Just like in the movies. And so, we're there. We're traveling to Nepal. I just get to spend some time in real reflection. During this time, it was kind of the monks really kind of got me into this clear thought that maybe we are a little addicted to doing. Right, we're kind of not humans being. We're kind of like humans doing. Right, I get off on a little bit, and I really got a sense for maybe finding some inner quietness. But I'm not convinced that that's the answer. Right, like I don't know that their way is right either. Right, because I also had a sense that like they're sitting up in the mountains playing in their pajamas, and look, that's fun. But at some point, you're like, hey, you got
to get some stuff done.
Right,
right.
Hey, got to
make a living. Got to support the family. Right, so. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what a friend of mine said to me in high school. Moderation in moderation.
Moderation, right. So it was that, right. So it really was that sense. Like you really got a sense, like he was like looking at me like, hey, you guys go too fast and you guys got to find out. I'm like, yeah, yes, some of that's absolutely true. And maybe sitting up here isn't just it, because we've also done a lot in our country in 250 years. If you look at what they've done in thousands of years and what we've done in 250 years, we have blown the doors off the world and getting things done. Now, I'm not going to say it's always perfect, and I'm not going to say we've done things right. You can come with all that kind of judgment.
The expectation in at least Nepal with the monks is maybe they achieved what they wanted to achieve. Yeah. And now they're just enjoying it, whereas in this country, we're always trying to outdo ourselves and one another and other countries and be the first and the best at everything.
But I don't as much as from our point of view, that's what it looks like they're doing. I'm not sure that's really, because I think there's also an underlying resentment. I mean, the monks were fighting. I mean, you could tell there was like a little pissing match between the head monk and the other guy, and who got the tourist and who got the thing and what. So there still is the human over there.
The human nature.
Yeah. Like there's still like that human nature where they, I'm not buying, from our point of view, stepping off the merry-go-round feels like this, this amazing space. But I think you get over there for a minute, you feel a little bit like you're on an island, right? All of a sudden you're disconnected from what's happening. So I don't know that one's better, just they're different. And they both serve us. I think they both serve us.
So how long were you there?
So we were in Nepal.
How long were you? You said you met him there.
So I was in Nepal I was supposed to be there longer. So we were there for 3 days.
Okay.
I was supposed to stay there for a week. 3 days into it, I'm like, all right, we've had enough of this spiritual shit. We're going to go to Thailand. So
Back to Bangkok.
we're going to go back with the Bangkok. So he goes 30 days in a monastery to, Bangkok.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, no,
I was there too.
And then
There's no need to talk about that.
And then we went off to a little Kazmui. We did some diving.
Okay.
Beautiful, and just got to spend some great time with cousins. But why I bring this up is there was a time there where I really got to center on my belief of God, right? Something I hadn't seen before, right? Like when you're quiet and you're kind of soul searching. I had this really cool vision. I'd like to share it a little bit. So it's going to go a little bit down a path. I'm not asking you to believe it, but I thought it was an interesting space to be in for myself, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. But it was like this sense that, when you're quiet and you have this space of kind of interflection, I had this sense that God had been here for a while. And I imagine I'm in this quiet space, completely, talking, no real connection, real quiet space. And I get the sense that God has been here for a long time, right? And I try for a second, try to comprehend forever, like
eternity.
Yeah, let's go back 100 years. You can get 100 years, right? Sure, right? Horse and buggies, maybe, the industrial era. Go back 200 years, you could probably get, first Americans really coming here, kind of going across the
Western expansion.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe or go back 300 years. You could say you could see Europe. Maybe this was still prime or native Indians, and so go back 3,000 years. Maybe you can get ancient Greece or Rome, right? I always had a feeling I was in one of those. Try to go back 30,000 years, right? Like you start to get forever is a long time. Like now imagine a billion years, right? It can't, there's not a comprehension I can get. So I had the sense that,
what is it? The analogy is, how long does it take? How many days if you spend $1? I think $1 a second. How long does it take to spend $1 million? And it's like 11 days. And how long does it take to spend $1 billion? And it's like 34,000 years or something like that.
Yeah, some
crazy. The difference is just it's astonishing.
Yeah. So I got the sense that God, and I'm not sure you can use the word bored. Right? I don't know if that's correct with God, right? But the being that is all-knowing was here for a long time, and maybe had maybe bored is not the right word, but some sense of that, right? If you could kind of compare being here forever and maybe things slowing down, let me use another example. So in Sicily, where my family's from, we have this big plot of land, right? And there is no property tax. Right. So I
like it already.
Right. Right. There's no property tax. So the thing with the land there is there's no real need to do something with it. Right. Because you're not getting taxed. Right. So what happens is families hold them for hundreds of years and sometimes do nothing with it. We're here. We have property tax. Right. Which kind of forces us to do highest and best use. Like either you're renting it or you're renting it out or you're living in it or
you're farming it.
Right. You're getting value out of it or you're letting go of it because you don't want to pay taxes out of your pocket. So it kind of forces us to get highest and best use for the property. And I never thought of it that way, but I had it in that moment, right? So you get like what I mean, like by having a tax, there is a requirement to do something with the property.
It's an incentive.
Right? It kind of forces you to motivate you. Well, imagine having no time. There was no sense of having to do something, right? And all of a sudden, here's the imagination. I'm going to use this word, like, imagine this is God, right? I'm sorry for using a water bottle for God if I'm offending any of you. I'm not meaning to do so, but I think it's kind of a good example of the idea that I had at the moment. So imagine God, right? This being, whatever, I'm going to use this bottle as the example of it. God had been here forever, right? This being God had been here forever and ever and ever and ever. And maybe it was here for 1 billion years and maybe went over the other side of the planet for 1 billion years and it went down to 10 light years away and then 100 light years away for billions and billions and billions and billions of years. But because there is no time, right? Things kind of just got like, there was hard to continue to evolve, right? And we, the being God, decided to create this playground called Earth. Right. And on it, we created these little vehicles called the human. And maybe we created them with a couple of natural instincts, like, hey, you want to procreate to keep the population going. Oh, we like doing that. Right. And then it had a little bit of survival, right? So you can make sure the thing isn't going to die. So it keeps itself surviving. He gave it some primal embedded if we were a video game, some embedded programming, right? Some rules to the player, right?
Sure.
Right. And maybe just like a drop of, this being is in each one of us, right? Like, in other words, I had this sense that I had a spiritual being in me that was driving this vehicle, right? That there was a separation between the vehicle me, the vehicle body, and the spiritual me, right? In this moment, I had this sense that like we were this spiritual being, where first time we'd ever separated from the whole, right? Because the place that we feel the most comfortable in the moment is really in connection. Like I felt like I'd come from connection, right? And the thing I want the most is connection. In fact, I think that's ultimately what I want in life. Like what I really want is to be seen, to be part of a group, and I want to connect, right?
You want to be accepted.
Yeah.
It's a socialization issue. Yeah, I completely get it. Yeah.
That's good. So it's kind of part of
community.
Yeah, community, right? Like we're like it's almost the most natural feeling I have, right? That this being, but for the first time, we're driving this being that has a timer, right? The timer is what's getting things done. Right? Is that kind of right? Like all of a sudden you have 100 years. Yeah, your 100 years is hey, my wife just walked in.
Hi. So we're well.
Yeah, we're good. So the 100 years kind of is like the tax. You're gonna get it done. You want to help your survival of your offspring. You have 100 years to get this done. If you don't get it done in 100 years, you've wasted.
Game over.
Game over. Right. So it's like,
and there's no respawning as you do with a video game.
Right.
So
maybe go back to the collective, right? Maybe go back to this. But what was the sense was that because of the timer, ultimately God is the creator, right? We hear in all the religions we've studied, he's the creator. If he's Allah, if he's Muhammad, if he's Krishna, the creator God, right? And the one with God within us. You hear that all the time. I had the sense like that spiritual being that's inside of this vehicle. The real value of the real work to do here is to get connected to the creator in us, right? To get rid of the fears, anxieties, the addictions, the things that are holding me back from being in connection with the creator that I am. You get what I'm saying?
I do. You just release the inhibitions.
Yeah. The block.
Turn your back on them. Right. Get out of the safe space.
Yeah.
I actually just had this conversation with one of my daughters the other day, because I still think to this day she spends way too much time on her phone. And she's got her friends are out of town. They're studying abroad this semester. And I just keep telling her, get out there and get uncomfortable. Just do something you wouldn't normally do, and meet new people, join clubs, whatever. This college is once. So go experience it.
When we were one, there was a comfort there. Now we're have this individual experience. It's uncomfortable. No one trained me at all. I don't know about you, but I don't think any of us that got trained. People told me about math and English and science, but no one said, Anthony, being a human being, you're going to be uncomfortable. And that's just part of the experience.
Right.
Like the idea, you're going to create ideas, right? You can have all these ideas, but to grow them, that space in between growing them there's a morass. There's, walking through fire. There's walking across broken glass. Growing ideas isn't easy, right? It comes with challenges and frustrations, but that's how, that's what creators do. We're taking something out of nowhere, an idea, we're bringing it into the physical world through our brain, to our actions, and now we're manifesting something that wasn't there before. And that to me is really the godlike experience that I know in the moment I could see that. Like, I don't know why, like I knew that was something I had to explore and I had to continue to look at, like, okay, all of these different religions we had studied and continue to study all have a similar thing about, who you should be on earth and what you should do with others. But all of them have a sense that there is a God inside of us. So if we can touch with that, I feel like there's the work to do together, right? If we could help each other, maybe even like the Greek church. My wife is Greek, and we go to that Greek Easter every year. And it's a wonderful experience, right? Like this big church, and they have, all the families dressed up, and they turn, it's a long ceremony, but we usually get in there a little late. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of fun. But they turn off the lights, and the priest comes in with a candle, and he lights one light. on the front row, and then they like the second row, and then they like the third row and the fourth row. And the question is how do we keep lighting each other's light, right? How do we get in touch with that part of us that is lighting each other's light, not the fear part of us? Because I think the
inspiration part.
Yeah, the part that says, all right, we got, I mean, we have so
It's
much.
not so scary. Just take the leap.
Yeah, it's good here. It's gonna, you're gonna mess it up, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna mess. The humans have done some great bad stuff. I don't know about you, but sometimes I remember the bad stuff more than the good stuff.
I think generally some people. I'm guilty of being this way too. I focus or remember the negative more so than the positive, and my wife is the complete opposite. She's about the, I wouldn't say the happiest go lucky person I've ever met, but she's just she always accentuates the positive of every situation.
Yeah, I feel like so saying
and that's hard to do. I think that's, well, I've been telling people that work with me that it's easier to criticize than to compliment.
Yeah,
and I think there's some truth behind that.
Yeah, remember that Morgan Freeman movie? Our biggest fear is not our inadequacies. Our biggest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure, right? That's one of the biggest fears we have. Like, that we're powerful. If we could show that to each other, if we knew that, if we knew that we were gods driving this vehicle, would we be as scared as we are today? And I think that's the one that
I don't think we would be, because in that case there are no consequences.
Right.
So because of consequences, because of mistakes and anything we do that can make us look bad or make somebody else look bad, make us feel bad about ourselves, or it's it's going to cause us problems.
What if the difference between mistakes are really the gift of learning, right? Like the mistake is, the gain of knowledge, right? Oh, I jumped in, I did something wrong. Oh, I gained knowledge, right? The difference between things I'm missing in life, like I'm not good enough, I need that to be happy, and gain, which is kind of, I'm going to make mistakes along the way, but the really is to gain more knowledge, right? If that difference between I was reading a book just this week about that, gap and gain. I thought that was an interesting concept. Like, all right, there's a gap between what I think I need to be happy, but where do I live life? Like, all the things I go through to gain knowledge are just a gift. It's life's way of teaching us these lessons that all will serve us later on, right? It's kind of like the chicken or the bird pecking its way out of a shell gives it muscles to fly later, right? In other words, the pecking through this
part of the process.
Yeah.
I have a guy that worked with me that was terrified to do the technical directing for one of my live streams, and he's just nervous as hell, and he didn't want to do it. And I'm going to make mistakes. I'm like, yeah, I know you're going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes to this day. It doesn't matter. You're not going to learn how to do it the right way until you do it. So just do it.
We went around the world. I mean, put that whole thing together. Every moment of every day was like, this is going to be.
It never felt like a mistake. But it was.
Yeah, we made
mistakes. Yeah. Everybody did.
Kids got tired. People got tired. I got tired. There was times when we messed some things up, but we kept moving forward. In fact, we had the TV show just now getting to. It's been what 6 years? 6 years now, and we've been trying to sell that thing. I've almost given up on it dozens of times, and then it keeps coming back to life, and then it comes back. Another group now wants it, and now it's kind of cool. We made a little twist in it. For them, and I think that's look, it's that idea, and then grow the idea. And even though as I walked that abyss, there's been a dozen times when I thought, this is it. This is the most expensive home movie anybody's ever made. but I think in growing it, there's a gift there.
Yeah. And yes, it was the most expensive home movie I've ever seen.
But it was a lot of fun. It was
a blast.
I've always said that no matter what happens, we have a gift for our lineage,
for generations.
Yeah. We did this together, and it would be the going through the trip was going to be a gift in itself, and it was.
It absolutely was. There's so much to discuss about that trip that people won't experience just when the cameras were off. There was so much going on as well.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, come on. Just every time we met a new travel person, every time we met a new, in each country we had a tour guide, and that was a lot of fun, right? Having the tour guides that they all had a different way about them, right? From Chayton, right? Ting dong, right? I remember him, the chai reverend. He loved he loved chai.
It was It just, the whole experience was amazing. I mean, even if it was just half the countries you went to, or even one, and spent one more time in one of those countries, as opposed to doing what ended up happening, it would have been worth it, and it would have been fascinating just to dive deeper into everything that we did.
Yeah. Look, I think there's a dozen different ways we can tape it up. We've got some great ideas for how to have other families do this. Like, imagine walking up to a family and saying, "Would you like to go around the world? We have to go. We're going to go call your work, time off, grab your kids, grab a bag,
and meet us here in 24 hours."
Yeah, meet us here, right. And then imagine taking a family has no idea and going on an adventure with no plan, no nothing. Just, I think the idea is that the more of the world that we can each see, and we get to see the other creators, the other ones, and the other gods driving the other vehicles, I think it's kind of a fun way to go look at this, right? So I don't mean that idea was not to impose on anybody's religious ideas. I don't mean to but that was the experience I had in that moment. I thought it was kind of a cool feeling to understand that, and just that I wanted to share that together. It was great having you on the show.
Well, it's good to see you again, Anthony.
Yeah, it really is great to see you. This was kind of fun little one.
Kind of unexpected to hear from you again in such a short period of time, but I'm happy to be here. And like I said, I'm out here anyway right now. Yeah. Going to, what is it, Ridgeland Commons? Is that what's on Lake Street, the sports complex right by OPRF, right?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So, that's my next stop here today.
We'll go rock it.
Yeah, gonna have fun.
All right. Well, as always, thanks for listening. I'm glad you're all here.